like I said, this is not in any order, right? We want to make sure we're
never really know what's going on. Look at me sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out, hear me out. It's all the things you never show. There are the things I want to know. Secrets start in your heart so slow. But if you don't wanna tell me now, I guess I'll never know. Losing almost all my energy. It's getting hard to talk to you, and I'm the only one who speaks. It's all the things you never show. There are the things I want to know. Secrets start in your heart so slow. But if you don't wanna tell me now, I guess I'll never know. Here we go, turning all the wrongs into rights. Here we go, you can take me there tonight. Whoa, this life is all we know. Whoa, I can't stay if you can't let it go. I never really know what's going on. And even when you're next to me, I feel like you were gone. It's all the things you never show. There are the things I want to know. Secrets start in your heart so slow. But if you don't wanna tell me now.
come down the same foot, right? Come down the same foot. Okay, so when you do a skip, all we're gonna do is we're gonna land the same foot, and then we're gonna take a step and then do the other side. And you're gonna take a step and do the other coach you through it. So you're gonna get in a nice athletic position. Yep, exactly. Good. And let's come back, same thing. Nice. Now we're gonna do the same thing, but with arm swings in front of us. Now we're gonna come back, arm swings overhead. There you go. Not bad, right? Exactly. So that was usually easier to teach than a skip. If you have a hard time, you can have somebody come across the wall. So let's say this is our wall. They don't trust it, lean forward a little bit, knees slightly bent, right? You can try it that way. It's just like being able to place your foot fast. That's all it is. Switching your foot to the side faster. From here, we can go into Carioca. So Carioca, I would start same thing, hands in your chest. It's called Carioca, some people call it a grapevine. Grapevine's a dance move where you go over and under, and then just people do this. That's a grapevine, right? So Carioca is the same thing as a grapevine, except you need more hip turning, right? So you're gonna go over, under, over, under. If I wanna teach it with my hands on my chest, it actually makes it a little bit harder because I wanna move my hands around. So I'm gonna make sure the way I teach it is like, I go slow, right? So you're gonna go all right, let's say John, you're gonna have your right leg, we're gonna go to the right. Since we're going to the right, we're gonna go with our left leg, we're gonna go in front of our right leg, we're gonna take a step with our right leg, and then we're gonna take a left leg behind our right leg. And the left leg is the one that moves forward and back, the right leg just moves sideways. When we go back the other way, it's gonna be the opposite, right? The right leg moves up and down, the left leg will just move sideways, okay? Once they got that walking speed, the next goal would be, okay, let's try to do it a little bit faster. So we're gonna go here, over, slide, under, slide, over, slide, under, slide. And that's what I like to say, over, slide, under, slide, right? Once we do that and they get pretty proficient at it, okay, we're gonna start swinging with our arms, right? So over, slide, under, slide. So my arms are going the opposite way of my hips. My arms are going the opposite way. So if I'm closing here, my arms are facing this way. If I'm opening here, my arms are facing this way. My hips are facing this way, my shoulders are facing that way. Right? So I'm kind of twerking, right? I'm making torque out of it, and that's what's guiding me forward. Okay, over, under, over, under. Okay, let's see you do a couple. Yep, and then right back. Perfect. Not bad? Not bad, right? Perfect. All right, so we got that Carioca grapevine, slow, speeding it up as you get more comfortable. Okay, so we got sitting on the bench squat jumps. That was what we did yesterday. The big key on that one is leaning forward, making sure, yep. Press through the balls of the foot. Press through the balls of the foot, exactly. Making sure that when you're landing, you're leaning forward too. You don't want to land leaning back because you're going to fall backwards, right? For somebody that's really tall, that squat jump is going to be really hard because they're going to be a lot lower to get to, right? Let's go. Okay, so then we got jumps and land in place, then moving forward. Okay, so then we have kind of like we're past baby hops. At this point, it's squat jumps now, right? So we're going to do kind of like vertical jumps. We're going to go up and land in place. Right? So this is more than just a baby hop. A baby hop, the difference between a baby hop and like a squat jump would be a baby hop, you never fully extend your legs, right? So my baby hop, my legs are always slightly bent, right? On a squat jump, my legs are gonna fully extend to the top, right? You see the difference? That's the main difference between those two, right? So I would start in place, and then as I get better, I could go forward. That's a different progression, right? Because that just takes landing. I'm always landing the ball of my foot first. At that point, we should be comfortable landing on the ball of the foot. And then we're just jumping forward and jumping in place, but we're not really trying to go that far forward. That's different. That's called a broad jump. So we're just jumping forward, jumping in place, right? At this point, I'm starting to teach hands, right? So as I'm jumping for almost any kind of jump, when my body's extended, my hands are overhead. When my legs are bent, my hands are down, right? So I'm gonna go, right? Or I'm using my hands to counterbalance. A lot of people would do jumps like this, right? You see people doing all the time like this. Hold on, let me think about this. Hold on. Yeah, this way. You ever see that? Especially women. I don't know what it is about that. They're not getting any momentum. Not wrong to do that. I just want to make sure you know the difference between That's like a jump, whatever jump. If you want to get like higher up, you need to use counterbalance. So you gotta use your hands opposite way. There's nothing wrong with. Fuck, hold on one second. It's this way. It's this way. Yeah, this way. This is the way people like to jump. Nothing wrong with that. You just won't get up higher. Most likely, you're not using your legs. If I use the opposite, where I go hands extended, down, up, I'm using my hands to throw myself up. Right? I can't use my hands to throw myself up the other way. That's the main difference between the two. So if you have somebody that's not necessarily working for that, that's fine. The problem is to differentiate the two. If then you have somebody go into a box jump and they're used to doing that, it's gonna screw with their head when they go into a box jump. So I just like to eliminate the other version, try to get them more used to being able to use their hands going up and down, right? It gives them, that way it doesn't confuse them later on. Like I said, if you have a fresh canvas and you start letting them do their own thing without the right call, as long as you have a reason for doing it, that's fine. But I know I want to make my we can reset every set, every repetition. So you go up, jump, land, reset, and do it again. Or we can continuous. Which one do you think is harder?
Continuous.
Continuous is harder, right? I always teach reset every set, every repetition. So you go up, down, jump for height, down, relax, and then do it again, right? Continuous, you won't get as high every time. There's a time and a place for continuous, like cardio, but just know you're not getting for height. If you're gonna go for height, I would reset every time, right? Nothing changes there. Like I said, once you're in this position, you're gonna teach everything straight, even your heels off the ground. Yep, exactly. That way I'm already used to, when I'm going down, the last thing people forget and jump off, they forget flick their toes, stay on their heels. A jump is a triple extension, right? So if I take a video of you, at the end of the video, this hip, this knee, and this ankle should be all extended, right? If there is something bent, so let's say I take off like this with my heels, that means I don't have full power yet. I can still work on that, push off the ground with my toes, and I'll get like another extra inch, right? A lot easier that way. So that's when we start getting into triple extension. Triple extension is a big thing in the athletic world. How to teach it, when to do it. If you can record it and see it and they're fully extended and their toes are pointing down, you're good, right? Then you have broad jumps. So the only difference between vertical jumps and broad jumps is that now you're landing forward, right? So on the landing forward, a lot of times I start landing, start very small ones. I don't go that far forward. I will go, I'm doing the same thing. It's performance, right? So I'm off my heels. I'm going down, I'm going up, and I'm landing, right? Somebody has knee pain, you gotta worry about that one a lot. You can still teach it, but you wanna make sure that when you land softer and you land closer. Once you start getting comfortable with that, get that distance longer. You don't wanna tell somebody that we're first doing that to maximally do it, right? Because I might slip. So I might go like this, and I'm falling backwards too. Or I might don't have enough strength in my knee because I'm landing so hard. That's the worst part. If when the knee goes forward, the ankle stays, there's an ACL injury. You don't want to do that, right? So on that one, you start small ones, going forward, right? I usually turn back around and go back. I usually, the same thing as the other one, I don't teach it consecutively. Consecutive is harder than teaching it. Just stop, reset, and go again. Stop, reset, and go again. So I usually stop, reset, and go again every time when we teach it, right? All right, so then we got ankle hops. So ankle hops, we talked about, it's kind of like just making sure your ankles are the only thing moving. So what I'm trying to look for in ankle hops is trying to see if I can minimally bend my knees. Gotcha. I can still bend them a little bit, but now the power is coming from your ankles, right? So try to lock out your knees now. Even more than that. Right, harder, right? Yeah, it's a lot harder. So the goal is to get the ankles to work a lot more. That's just an ankle hop. The higher you can get with just an ankle hop, the better your ups are, right? So a lot of basketball players just do a ton of ankle hops, right? Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so then we got lateral jumps. So lateral jumps are double-legged. We're gonna go laterally, right? Exactly. So it's just a little different landing mechanics because you're gonna have more weight on one hip than the other, and then you're gonna come back the same direction, right? So if you came that way, you're gonna come this way. But all it is the same exact as a squat jump. It's just a little bit more weight on one hip than the other, right? We have lateral jumps. We start getting into box jumps and hurdle jumps. We got lateral hurdle jumps. So let me get you in the box jump. All right, so we have high jumps, high box jumps, and low box jumps, really. Let's go get a 18-inch box, okay? Perfect. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a box jump, Travis. So when we teach a box jump, we teach soft landing. When we teach a box jump for performance, I don't really care how you land, as long as you land it, right? A couple of things to look at. If somebody's pretty solid and they let's say, hey, I used to be a really good athlete, I used to get a 40-inch box jump, right? Okay, that's fine. Let's say one of the goals is to get more athletic. Okay, so if I want to get more athletic, I want to be able to jump higher, right? At that point, you want to be able to land with your legs more extended, right? So if I do this, that's a lot higher than me doing this. I don't have to get up as high, right? Because I'm landing with my legs bent. My legs bent, that means my hip is coming down. If I'm landing with my legs straight, that means that I know that my hip already went up higher. So I actually naturally have higher hops. A couple of things on it. The basic box jump is you're gonna go, we already tossed the hands at that point, right? So body extended, hands overhead, body bent, hands down, right? So I'm gonna be right next to him. A lot of people ask me, how far should I step away from the box? And I'm always saying, hey, as long as you're not hitting that box as you're going down, that's as far as you need to stay away from it. If you're too far, you're not gonna make it. And if you're too close, you're gonna hit your hands going down, it's gonna mess you up. Or you're gonna hit your feet coming up and it's gonna mess you up, right? So I'm gonna go, I kind of know at this point, but I tell people to mess around with it and see what their distance is, right? So I'm gonna be right here. I'm gonna go fully extended going up, going down bend, going up, and land soft. And I always tell them when I first teach it, I don't wanna hear you land, right? Because a lot of people will land like this. Right? I want to hear nothing. So the more expert they are, the easier it's going to be. The less training background they have, the harder it's going to be to land soft. Okay? So let's go ahead and come over here. You're going to do a soft landing for me. There you go. There you go. And I always emphasize, make sure you get your whole foot into the box. Okay? Make sure you get your whole foot into the box. Better. Again. Good. Now I want you to try to land with your legs straight.